Today we're going to talk about installing Oracle Database 12c Release 1 on Linux 6 with ASM. With this tutorial, you're going to learn how to install Oracle Grid Infrastructure version 12.1.0.2 on Linux 6.7. Also, we're going to install Oracle Database 12CR Release 1, the same version 12.1.0.2 on Linux 6.7. And finally, we're going to create a new database with ASM. To implement this tutorial, you need the following software: Oracle VirtualBox software, version 5, Oracle VirtualBox VM appliance, which has a fresh installation of Oracle Linux 6.7. I call it here seed virtual machine. Also, you need Oracle Grid Infrastructure, version 12c Release 1, and Oracle Database 12c Release 1. Also, you need WinSCP utility, Xming, and PuTTY. You can download them all from the internet. The tutorial here is documented in a document titled as Installing Oracle Database 12c Release 1 on Linux 6 with ASM. This document is available in my website, ahmedbaraka.com. In this tutorial, we're gonna create this the environment as shown in this figure. So we're gonna have a database instance and an ASM instance. We're gonna start with creating the ASM instance using this release 12.1.0.2 and saving it into this home user1 app 12.1.0 grid, and the OS user will be grid. This instance will use 3 disks: CRS, data, and FRA. The space of the first one is 2 GB. The other two, each of them has 50 GB size. The database instance will have the name OraDB of version 12.1.0.2. The database we're gonna create is non-CDB database, and it will be saved into this home and owned by Oracle user. The host name of the whole environment will be named as SRV1, and the operating system is 6.7 64-bit. The tutorial outline is as follows. First, we're going to clone the Oracle Linux pre-built VM appliance. Then we will create virtual hard disks to be used for the ASM. Then we will do some network configuration on the VM appliance. And then we're going to set up environment variables for OS accounts, Grid, and Oracle. In the 5th stage, we're going to install ASM packages. Then we will create ASM disk volumes. After that, we're going to install Oracle Grid Infrastructure software. Then we will create ASM disk groups. Then we will install Oracle Database software. And finally, we will do the target of this tutorial, which is to install Oracle Database. So let's get started. All right, so we start by cloning the VirtualBox. So we open the VirtualBox, and we open from there the seed VM machine. We right-click on that VM appliance and select Clone. We give this clone a name. I name it something like Oracle DB 12c. Then I will mark this checkbox, reinitiate the MAC address, then next. Full clone, yes, it's full clone. So we will be waiting for the clone to finish. Now we're going to add disks to the cloned virtual machine. So we right-click on the cloned appliance, select Settings. From there, we select Storage from the left-hand side. add the new device, add SCSI controller. Then we click on the button add disk, click to create a new disk, VDI, it's dynamic. The first disk I'm gonna call it CRS disk 1. I will give it 2 GB, and I will just simply do the same for the other 2 disks. Create one, the disk 1, 50 gig, the same for the third one, FRA disk 1, 50 gig, create. So we have now 3 disks added to the machine, and then we can optionally change the description of this machine to describe its contents. So here you go, we have 3 disks added to the appliance. We need to do another change. We go to settings and go to network. From there we need to change the network adapter to the type bridged adapter. Also we have to take note of the MAC address, the new MAC address that has been created for this appliance. You need to write this down somewhere. So we have now a cloned appliance with the 3 disks added to it. We just need to start it up to do some network configuration. So what we're going to do for the network configuration, basically first we have to fix the MAC address, because when you clone the appliance from the seed appliance, the MAC address will be changed by the VirtualBox. So we have to fix the consequences of that. Then we're gonna configure the DNS and the IP address of the appliance. And finally, we're gonna configure PuTTY to connect to the cloned appliance. Okay, so I will log in as root. Open a terminal window. Fix its width. So open the file shown in the screen. So this section should be deleted. We don't need it. And we have to fix the MAC address, sorry. We have to fix the MAC address shown here. So this part we don't need it anymore because this is related to the other network adapter, the old one. And we go to the other section and fix the MAC address over there. Should be the same MAC address that you took note of. Then you open another file shown in the screen, ifcfg eth0, and again you have to fix the MAC address over there. Save it, WQ, and then reboot the appliance. While the appliance is rebooting, we need to obtain the DNS of your network. If you know it, that's good. If you don't, you can open the command prompt in the hosting machine, in your host machine, the Windows one. Open the command prompt cmd and then type the command ipconfig /all pipe find DNS. So from there you can obtain the DNS configured in your network. write it down. In my case, it's 192.168.1.1. Then you connect back to the appliance and run the command ifconfig. From there, you obtain the IP address assigned to your appliance. In my case, it's 192.168.1.170. So I want to make this IP address static instead of using the DHCP. For this purpose, I will use the utility system config network to assign this IP address to this machine statistically. Then type enter, use the keyboard, by the way, with this utility, not the mouse. Then you enter the IP address and the DNS. Then save and quit. To make sure this is that the changes have been done correctly, you view this file ifcfg eth0. You will see all the network configuration that we have set are there. We need now to edit the etc hosts file. I will remark the IPv6 line and put the IP address and the host name of my machine as shown in the screen. To make sure that the configuration is correct, I ping the host name, which is srv1. Yeah, everything sounds good. Then I will reboot the machine to apply the changes. So the machine now has been rebooted. I want to make sure that my machine is seen by my host, so I will run in my host machine the command prompt and I will ping the IP address. In my case, it's 192.168.1.170. Yeah, so the host machine can see my appliance. Now I'm going to configure PuTTY. I will open PuTTY and I will enter the IP address of my appliance. Then I click on connection and set the seconds between keep live to 5. Then I go to the appearance and I can change the font to make it a little bit bigger. I will make it 12 in my case. If you feel happy about it, that's fine. Then I will save it under a profile called srv1 and then click on save button and then open button. With this message, you just need to click on yes. It's just a warning message. And then you can log in to that appliance root and the password. Here you go. We connected from PuTTY to our new appliance. Now we have to set up the environment variables for OS accounts, grid, and Oracle. For that purpose, we need the tutorial document. You can download it from my website because we're going to copy paste some code from that document. So this is the title of the document: installing Oracle database 12CR1. Go to page 14. So, and we're gonna execute the codes from there. So first we have to make a copy of the profile file. So I will su to Oracle and then run copy paste, run the command. Just by the way, you can paste by right click on the command prompt and that's it. So we made the copy of the bash profile file. Now I will remove it and create it again. Of course, the backup is still there. Then I edit the same file. I will create it. then copy paste from the document into this profile. Okay, so we have built the profile for Oracle. What you care about in the profile most is the variables Oracle SID and Oracle unique name or UNQ name. Those two variables define the name of the database we're going to create, which is in this case OraDB. Also, another important variables are Oracle base and Oracle home. Oracle base is the root directory where you're going to create or install all Oracle products. Oracle home is the directory where you're going to install Oracle database software. Then we're going to create another user, grid. The grid will be the owner of the Oracle infrastructure software. So copy the command, exit from Oracle as a root, run the command. Copy paste. Yeah. Okay. Set a password for that user. Then again, we're going to make a backup of the bash profile, delete the bash profile and create it using the code or the script from the document. Remove, then edit, press I, copy the code, right click, copy the rest of the code, paste, right click, and then escape WQ. Again, the most important variables in the bash profile file are Oracle base and Oracle home, and they have the same functionality as in Oracle user. Then we're going to create the directories needed for the variables. And change the permission for those directories to give permissions to grid and Oracle. So the grid and Oracle accounts are ready for Oracle installation. The next step is to install Oracle ASM package. Oracle ASM package is already installed by default if you follow the same steps we used to create this appliance. To make sure about that, as a root, run this command. If you see this output, it means the package is there. However, you still need to download the ASM library. So you run this command, yum install kmod Oracle ASM. This will install the library for you. Then we need to configure the ASM kernel module. So we run the command Oracle ASM configure -i. Then you enter grid as the owner. Then the group is DBA. Then yes, and that's it. So this way we have configured the ASM library module. After that, you run the command Oracle ASM init, which will initialize the ASM for you. And that's it. ASM library and package are ready to be used in the appliance. Now we're going to create ASM disk volumes. We need to make sure that the appliance can see the drives or the disks. So you run this command in the command prompt as root. Yeah, you can see here we have 3 disks we assigned for the ASM. Then we use the utility ifdisk to create partitions for those disks. So we start with ifdisk dev SDB, which is the second disk in this case, the 2 GB disk. Then you type in P1, enter, and finally W to write changes. That's it. This is how you use to configure the first drive. You do the same for the rest of the disks. We finished from SDB, so we do the same with SDC. NP1, enter. And that's it. We have created 3 partitions for those disks. To make sure the partitions are there, we just run this command, ifdisk grep. Yeah, 3 partitions are there in the disks. Then we will create ASM disk using the command Oracle ASM create disk for those partitions. First for SDB1, then SDC1, then SDD1. This way the ASM disks have been created for us. Then I'm going to reboot the appliance. We install Oracle infrastructure software. So after you rebooted the machine, log into PuTTY as root. Then run the command su grid, switch to grid user. Then create directory to save the installation media in it. I will call it source in this case. Then we run the utility WinSCP to copy the installation files from the local machine or the host machine to the appliance. So click on a new site, type here the IP address of your appliance. The user, root, and password. I am going to save it first, save, and I will save also the password. This is not recommended, of course, for a production, but for a demo it's fine. Then I browse to the destination. So I go to the root and then home, then grid, then source. This is my destination directory. Then I'll go to the source, to the installation media and upload it. Right-click upload, so they will be moved to the appliance. I'm going to wait for the copy to finish. When the copy is done, you can close this utility. Now you run the program xming. Just double click on it and that's it. It's as easy as that. You will see an icon in the right corner of your task bar indicating that this program is there. I deleted just the shortcut of the xming. So xming is used to see the GUI, the installation GUI. If you want to see it in your Windows host machine, we use xming for that purpose. Now we need to configure PuTTY to interact with the Xming. So we click on SRV, click on load button, then go to SSH from the left hand side and click on X11. From there, make sure this checkbox is enabled. Enable X11 forwarding, and then type in this field localhost. After that, go to the session and save the profile again. Click on Save button to save the changes that we have made. Then click on Open. Now, this PuTTY should be configured enough to communicate with Xming. I will close the other window, I don't need it. So I will work with this one. I want to test whether this PuTTY is able to communicate with Xming. So I will log in as root. Then I will install a software called Xclock. It's not clock, it's Xclock, yeah. Yum install Xclock. It will install it for me. And after that, I will run it to test if this session can communicate with Xming. So I will type Xclock to test. Here you go. I have the Xclock utility running. I will move it just to show it to you. Yeah, I have the Xclock window running in my Windows machine. I will close it. So I can now feel confident to run the installer from this session. So this is how you configure, but actually we need to do something further if we want to do the same with a user other than root. So to configure the Xming with the grid or Oracle, you do this, the following: XAUTH list, then SU minus grid. As a grid user, you add the output of the other command. By the way, to copy and paste from the PuTTY, you just highlight and that's it. When you highlight anything from the PuTTY, it will save it in the clipboard. Then you run the command export display equal to localhost :10. You do this every time you want to run any GUI in a user other than root. Now we're going to decompress the installation media. So I will CD to source, then use unzip utility to decompress the files. When the uncompress is finished for the first file, I will do the same for the second file. It will take some time to decompress. When it's done, the installation media are ready. As you can see, a grid folder has been created. You just CD to that folder, CD grid. Then from there, you run the installer. You should see the Oracle Universal Installer window popping up in your Windows machine. So as you can see here, Oracle Grid Infrastructure Installer are there to install the Oracle Grid Infrastructure software. In the first window, you select the second option, install and configure Oracle Grid Infrastructure for a standalone. Then next, the language English, next. Here we define the disks for the CRS. So click on the change discovery path and change it to the path where the ASM disks are located, which is dev/Oracle ASM /disks. Then you will see all the disks. Select only the first one, which is CRS disk, which has 2 gig size, and make the redundancy external in this case, and then change the disk group name to CRS. So make sure you select the CRS, external, and CRS as the name. Then you define the password. Next, some warning message because the password is weak. Never mind. Yes. We don't have an EM at the moment, so we can just click on next. Here you will define the OS groups, DBA for the first one, or install for the second. That's fine. Next, some warning message. It's okay. Just yes. Here you define the Oracle base and Oracle software location. It gets it from the profile. You know, we have configured the patch profile. This is where it will know the values for those fields. You just click yes on this button for this warning message. Inventory directory, no problem. Next, mark this checkbox. Automatically run configuration scripts. Type the password of the root and next. Here the installer is showing us a warning message that 2 limits must have been set for the grid user. But luckily this installer can fix this issue for us. So all what we have to do is fix and check again button. When you click on this button, the installer will try to fix this for us. Here the message is saying that the changes have been set successfully by the installer. Click on back and then click on next again. It will do the check again. Yeah, all good. Regarding this warning message, no problem. It just complains it's 3.6, not 4 gig. Just mark on ignore all and click on next. Warning message again, just yes. And click on install button. So the installation will start into the appliance. In the middle of the installation, you will see this message. You just click on yes and wait for the installation to complete. Finally, you will see this message that the installation of Oracle Grid Infrastructure for standalone server was successful. Click on close button. At this stage, we have to create ASM disk group, so we run the command ASM CA, which will initiate ASM Configuration Assistant. In this window, you click on Create to create the first ASM disk group. You should see the other 2 disks. Type in the disk group name Data, then select External for redundancy, then mark the data disk. So after that, click on OK, and the disk group will be created for you. You do the same for the other disk. It is FRA, external redundancy, mark the last disk and click on OK. So the disk has been created, the disk group, has been created for us. And you should see the state of all the disks mounted. Then exit the configuration assistant. This way we have all the ASM disk groups created for us. Now we want to install Oracle database software. For this purpose, we need the Oracle database software installation media. Log into the appliance using PuTTY. Switch to Oracle user. Create directory to save the installation media in it, which is source. CD to that directory. Now we need to copy the installation media into that directory the same way we did with the grid software. So again, with the WinSCP, you log in to that one as root, then go to the installation media, the folder where you saved your installation media, go to the source, which is Oracle source, and then upload the installation media to that directory. After the copy is finished, close this utility, you don't need it anymore. Now we need to configure this session with xming. Again, xauth list, then switch to Oracle, copy paste into xauth add. Then export display equal to localhost colon 10. So this way we have configured this session with the xming. To test it, I can run the xclock as Oracle. Yeah, if I see this window, it means the xming is running fine with this session. Now I will go to the source and again unzip the installation media. Then unzip the second file. You should see I will remove the installation, the zip file. I don't need it anymore. It will take space for nothing. So I will remove the zip files. Then you go to a directory created by the unzip, which is database, cd database. From there you run the installer. Run installer. You should see the installer window popping up. In the first window, you just unmark this checkbox. Then click on yes. Select the second option, which is installing database software only. Then click on next. Then select the first option, single instance, next. English language, no problem, next. Enterprise edition, this is our target, next. Here we can see the Oracle base and Oracle software location obtained from the profile file, no problem, next. Disk groups are there, no problem. By the way, this settings is not the right setting for a production. Here we are defining the same group for all the roles. In practically, we should have a separate group for each role. But this is for demonstration, so using the same group is fine. Just click on next, next, and finally click on install. And the installation will start. In the middle, nearly in the end of the installation, you will see this message which asks you to run this script as root. So you log in as root, and then you run that script. You log in as root using putty, password, and then sh followed by the same file, root.sh. Just enter again, and that's it. All good. I'm going to close this window, we don't need it anymore. After that, you click on OK. Here you go. The software is there installed into the appliance. Now we're going to create a dedicated listener in this home, in this Oracle home. So I will run the command netca to initiate the network configuration assistant. Then click on next. Add listener, yes. We will change the listener name to listener underscore Ora DB. You should change the name because the name of the listener in the grid infrastructure is listener. Then next, we need to change the port number to 1522 because the one which is running in grid infrastructure is 1521. Then would you like to configure another listener? No, no need. Next, next, and finish. So this way the listener has been created for us. To know the status of this listener, we issue the command lsnrctl status space listener underscore Ora. It's not running yet, so to start it I would issue the command lsnrctl start listener underscore Ora db. So the listener now is up and running. At this stage we have to create the database. This is the last step in our tutorial. So we run the command dbca to initiate the database configuration assistant. In the first window you select create database and then click next. Here you select advanced mode, then click next. Select the first template, general purpose or transaction database. Next, we will give it a name, the same name we have configured in the profile file. So I will call it oradb.local domain. Make it lowercase, by the way, because it's the same. It should be the same case as in the profile file. We need to create Enterprise Manager Database Express, so I will leave this checkbox marked. Then the password. Next. Here we make sure which listener to use, so I will keep the listener OraDB marked and then next. Here we need to configure where the data files should be saved. So the database files, I would like to save it in the ASM. By the way, if I use the mouse, it doesn't work, so use the keyboard instead. So to make the selection. Then file location plus data. This is the disk group where we have to save the data files. The FRA also should be changed to the ASM. I will set the fast recovery size to 45 gig. All sounds good. Next. I will install the sample schema. I will mark this checkbox. Next. The size of memory that will be used by this database is 40%, which is about 1.4 gig. 1 gig will go to the SGA, the rest will go to the PGA. Then the sizing is fine. Character set, I will change it to AL32. Then we need to configure the control file. So we click on this button, the initialization parameter file, because we want the control files to be saved in the ASM instead of the file system. So I will go there and change the value of the control files to the following data / as shown in the screen exactly. So one copy will be in the data disk group, the other copy will be in the FRA disk group. Next. Then create database, save the database template. I will make some notes here. This DB uses ASM. Generate database creation scripts, no problem with doing that. Then next, you will see a summary. No worries. Click on finish. So the database will start to be created for you. In the end, you should see this message. Just take note of the EM Database Express URL, because we're going to use this to see the EM Database Express. Now, to make sure that the database is there, I can, in the command prompt SQL plus, go to SQL plus /accessdba. If you see this command prompt, it means all good. Now in the host machine, open the internet browser and go to the URL of the database express, enterprise manager express, using the IP address. If you see this message, just click on advanced and then click on proceed. You should see the enterprise manager database express opened for you. Let's try to log in as accessdba login. Here you go. We have the enterprise manager up and running. This database is registered in the grid infrastructure. To check this registration, you can log in as grid, switch to grid, and issue the following command: srvctl status database -d or a db. You should see the message database is running. So this means that the database is registered successfully in the grid infrastructure. This is the end of this tutorial. I hope it would help you to successfully create a demo Oracle database running against an ASM instance. If you have any comments or any question, please don't hesitate to contact me. All my contact info is there in my website. Thank you.